Hey, welcome to Black and White TV. I'm Sean.
I'm Jamila.
We have a special guest. We'll get to him in just a moment. But as you know, here on the show, we like to tackle all the topics. Sometimes they're black, sometimes they're white, sometimes they have a little color to them. So, we're so glad that you're here. We actually just came from a high school.
Yes, we came from Seminole High School. So shout out to Seminole High School. Shout out to Lyman High School. Those are two high schools that we've been partying at.
That's right, doing workshops, our Uniters curriculum there. If you have interest at your business, at your school or church, to have us come out and do some teaching, some training on how to listen, learn, and lean in, give us a holler.
Yeah.
So, it's Halloween.
Well, yes, it is, right?
I mean, this is normal
ready.
for Jay.
We're ready.
But James
I always look like a tourist.
James and I are in Cobra Kai. Nice.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah, Sean, what are you even?
I am a rebel.
Okay. Oh, your light went out. You see what happens?
That's what happens. I just borrowed stuff from my daughters.
Did you almost spit out your water?
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a borrowed thing.
I borrowed. I know this is your normal. But
Yeah,
I borrowed.
normally dress up like a tourist,
Yeah,
on a
tourist.
Wednesday.
On a cruise ship.
Yeah, specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, because people can't see us. Not everyone can see us, Sean.
True.
So we have to be
true,
very
to
Pacific.
describe. So,
Not specific, Pacific.
So we do have James Sang Lee with us here. We're going to do 3 holiday specials. So we'll have a Halloween special this episode, then we're going to do a Thanksgiving special, and then we'll do a Christmas special. So
nice.
So special.
Lots
It's going to
of
be so
specials.
special in 2021.
But James, in the spirit of wearing costumes, you recently got paid to wear a Halloween costume.
Oh yeah, I did.
Who says
That's
that?
pretty awesome. Tell us about your latest adventure.
Right. Thanks. So I just filmed the action thriller The Plane with Gerard Butler. Some people remember him from 300 and
Yeah.
Olympus Has Fallen. So I dress up in my costume that I got paid for as a mercenary. I play the sniper Willis in this next.
Of course
film.
you do.
Nice. Yeah, check out James and his Instagram, Facebook. There's a great photo. You
James
posted
Sang Lee.
at the very end. Yeah, when you guys did a rap. How was it? What was the most fun thing about
Well,
being back on the set?
Well, I love action, and I can't give away too much because it's all the NDAs. But I got to film and shoot a full auto M16 out of a moving jetliner hanging out the fuselage door.
Nice.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
That is awesome and magical and scary.
You got paid.
You got paid.
Man, some of us only wear Halloween costumes. You know, that's cool.
Calling it that.
I like
It's
it.
wardrobe.
Okay, but not only that, you also got to record in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome.
Totally awesome.
You speak all the Spanish.
All the Spanglish, and I many times said no habla español because I can't speak
Yeah.
Spanish, but
Yes.
it was a lot of fun. The food is awesome, and the people are wonderful to be around.
Yes.
How many days total were you filming?
2 months, so about 60 days.
Oh my goodness.
Cool.
Wow.
Cool. So when can we expect to watch the film?
There's 3 possibilities. The one is Christmas of 2022.
Okay.
Could be a summer blockbuster. Or the third, I don't think it's going to happen, but it's possible. Gerard Butler has a movie in the theater right now called Cop Shop. So it's possible it could go back to back because he's in the theater and then just back to back again.
Boom, chicka pop.
Sometimes that's a strategy in film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, also fun fact about James, he is our producer.
That's
People
right.
don't know that.
So James, you've been a part of Global Unites. You've helped Sri Lanka Unites in years past. Now you're part of the team with USA Unites. What do you like most about being a part of this movement?
Well, I think the biggest part that I really enjoy is learning from all of you. I think this is something where I don't know a lot about some of these topics, and I'm obviously willing to learn. I just don't know. And so I need a sort of a safe environment because I just don't know. And I'm going to naturally be ignorant about it, and I don't mean to be, but I need a place that's safe to learn.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you and I have gotten to travel a lot over the years: Namibia, Egypt,
Oh, yeah.
Brazil. I think of all the places I know. Little Cairo. So James,
He's pointing to his mug.
Yeah.
Cairo. Egypt.
Yes.
I think we were on the trip together when I bought that mug.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you take with you on these trips is you do a lot of martial arts training.
Yep.
You have a history with that. You've won the national world
title.
3 times?
4 times.
4 times.
Oh wow!
Sorry.
Get it together. Get it together.
I usually just round it up to 10. So 4 times you've won. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks. I had great teachers, great teammates, and a lot of support too.
Yeah. So Jay and I were talking about this the other day. Maybe tell everyone that's listening or watching what got you into martial arts to begin with.
Yeah, being Chinese, born in America, but my family's from Hong Kong, China. I think it was just natural to, especially growing up in the Midwest, surrounded primarily a European, Norwegian culture a lot. You're kind of like, who am I? What am I about? What's our family values? And it was easy for me to identify in that timeline in the 70s and the 80s with Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee was, fighting the bad guys, and there was a lot of racism in it. In fact, even in his films, from war and things like that in Asia. And so it was like, wow, this guy is fighting against all this different oppression and racism. And I was like, I really like that. And I also liked it too because I'm really into physical fitness and anything like that. And martial arts produces that self-confidence and the strength and obviously self-defense.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is cool.
All right, so we'll get back to the serious stuff.
Right, yeah, you got
Let's
real
not go there
serious.
yet.
You asked him about his story.
I know. So let's talk about the
Halloween.
most serious topic of all. Best candy, worst candy.
Ooh.
of
According
Halloween.
to...
Woo!
According to you.
Okay, yeah, because that's what matters.
Yeah. So growing up, worst candy.
The worst candy in the universe is candy corn. And not just any candy corn. Loose candy corn.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, did you blow it up? Yes. Thank you, James.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's hard to compete with candy corn, James. Do you have it?
Worst candy corn.
Okay. 2 for candy corn.
Double jam.
Listen, I can make it a 3. We can be unanimous.
Oh, no, seriously.
For real? Wow.
I will say
Sorry,
a close
Beck.
second. A close
Okay,
second.
close second.
What were those peanut, like those foam?
Oh, they're like
Gross.
I don't
foam
know what
peanuts.
Spongy? Yeah.
I don't know what they're called. I don't think
Gross.
they didn't
No,
they didn't
no.
come-
I think they're called peanuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, as a kid, like
Oh.
when people would throw an apple in there or something.
That was not normal.
Halloween.
I've heard about those
Come on,
stories.
you
That,
don't
I never had
know.
them. I did get a box of raisins. Little box of raisins.
No.
Circus peanuts.
Circus
Thank you.
peanuts.
Yeah.
Lauren is
Nailed
always
it.
here for us.
Peanut-shaped marshmallow candy.
Oh,
with a
my.
soft and spongy texture.
It's not good.
You see, but circus peanuts are deceiving too. You get,
Yes.
oh, I got a big piece of candy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a big, terrible piece of candy.
It's terrible.
It's awful.
You know what else is terrible? Black licorice.
Number 2 for me.
Oh my gosh, James!
Not me.
James,
Lauren?
connecting. You
Black
guys like
licorice.
Black
is
licorice.
So good. It's got to be good, like licorice, not like trash black licorice.
trash?
Yeah. No, listen. We were talking about this. Remember?
What is
like,
trash?
Yeah, what is that?
I'm about to tell you. So, actually, I don't know what the yucky black licorice is, but the red licorice. What's the fake red licorice?
Fake red licorice?
Like you get Twizzlers.
Twizzlers.
and
Okay.
That's the good stuff. But then
Oh,
there was
that's
like
the good
a
stuff.
Fake, yeah, it was like the knockoff version.
Red vines?
Yes, red vines. Oh,
I don't even know what that is.
I don't
Yeah.
know what that is either.
Not good.
Maybe we don't go deep into this candy situation.
Let's go to best candy.
Okay. So here's the thing. I'm not actually a big candy person. I don't like things that are too sweet. But I'm a big fan of gummy bears.
Wow,
Hey.
Which kind?
Yes,
What are they
them.
called? The
This starts with
Haribo.
Haribo.
Thank you. Them.
I almost
Those
called
are excellent.
Hasbro.
Hasbro. Them. Whoever they are. The
Okay,
golden guys.
that's yeah.
Top
the
5.
German-
Top 5.
Yeah,
Top
the
5.
German gummy bears.
Oh, I do. Well, when I was not a vegan, Twix.
Ooh, Twix is good.
Always
I'm a big
good.
fan.
It's good.
Yeah.
Lauren, favorite?
Ooh.
We've stumped it.
Snickers.
Snickers.
Oh, Snickers.
That's why it's
Okay.
good.
They have great
Or
commercials. Ooh.
Okay.
I used to be
Oh.
a tropical Skittles fan.
Wow.
Those two. Okay.
James, favorite?
Almond Joy.
Almond
No
Joy.
doubt about it.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. The joy of the almond.
Oh.
Even as a kid. Because I feel like
Even
that's more
as a
adulting.
kid.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
okay. Very mature.
Yeah.
You're mature.
That's good. I'm trying to think. I think, okay, growing up, like I hate these now. It's just too much sugar. But like nerds, just
Oh,
classic
nerds are awesome.
Nerds.
Oh.
That was a great day when those.
I feel like
came
I really
out.
enjoyed Pop Rocks too.
Pop Rocks were great.
Butterfinger's a close second for me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I immediately think of Bart Simpson. That's good commercial.
Yeah,
Good
that's
commercial.
good. Sponsor.
You don't have any other one?
I mean, I love candy. Gum. I just like bubble gum. I mean,
You like the 5-second gum, which is like
Big League Chew. Remember the little
best.
pocket thing? Yeah.
Best.
I was like Bubblicious.
Oh, yeah.
I did like Bazooka Joe. You remember Bazooka Joe?
Yeah, Bazooka Joe's awesome. Had the
That was
comics in
5 second.
there.
That was a 5-second gum, but I like.
Is that the comic one?
Yeah, that was
Okay,
the
yeah,
comic
yeah.
one. Back in the day, look
Oh,
at
yeah,
us.
oh, yeah.
We're very old.
Okay, switching gears.
Okay,
but
switching.
we're not going to go deep yet.
Okay.
What about? Is there an age in which trick or treating needs to stop?
It needs to stop.
Trick or treating. Actual
Yeah.
going to the door for
Like
candy.
when you,
Oh,
like as
oh.
an adult now.
Wait, you said that like that was two different things. What did you mean?
James might be still trick or treating.
Yeah, I got a little nervous there,
He's
actually.
like, I'm still going to the door, and someone just happens to give
I
me
got this for
candy.
trick or treating.
So you're at your house, you go to the door, you open it. The human on the other side.
The human.
How old do they have to be where you're like? And is it an age or is there something else that also kind of?
Sean, clearly you're leading the witness.
I am
You're
leading the
leading the witness.
For me, if they can drive, it's over.
That's a good one. I
Oh.
think
What
that's
if they're driving age, but they're not driving?
They need to stand back.
Be a chaperone.
Chaperone.
Okay, I can go with that one.
I guess I don't care. Yeah, I think if people have the spirit of, I'm like, here's the candy. You earned it just from your ness.
If Sean and I showed up at your door
No,
and you didn't know us,
No.
you're saying
I mean, like, because based on what Sean's saying, it's the older teens, right?
Right.
And older teens do give off an energy, right? If they don't have the elitist energy of like, I just deserve the candy, but they're with their little brothers and sisters, or they're just like a part of it in a way. I'm like, yes, here's candy for you. It's free candy.
Yeah.
Who
That's
cares?
That's good. Okay.
But you, Sean, what's your cutoff?
Well, for me, I feel like
You feel more
if
passionate.
you are driving, which I think is a good demarcation, if you are probably in high school
Probably.
and you don't even wear a costume, you just have
Oh,
a
yeah.
bag and you
Good.
You just have a bag.
Bag.
Or the pillowcase.
Yeah, the pillowcase.
Oh, yes.
I think you crossed the line.
You've crossed the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we did actually Google it, and the average age of when one stops is 18.7. I said it, 0.7.
So you're saying to me that there are 20-some-year-olds.
What she's saying to you, James, is you can't trick or treat.
Okay, that's clear.
And it might be just that people are just like, while they're in high school, they're like, this is my last.
Ah.
I don't know. I don't really remember when I stopped, to be honest.
Middle school.
Okay.
Middle school, yeah.
We may edit this out later. We may be going on too long, but it's Halloween. It's a holiday special. Costume you most wanted to wear? Like, what was your go-to growing up? Did you always lean to something, or did you switch it up year to year?
I don't remember.
You don't remember what you wore?
Go-to costume.
I only remember because I dress up a lot as an adult. So I have a lot of costumes in my life. I don't remember the children ones.
I'd say ninja was probably mine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That is
ninja.
so, like, I can't.
Yeah.
I
It's hard
can't
to
even
imagine
look at
James wanting to do that.
Why a ninja?
That's
Everything-
so stereotypical, James.
Because everything in his closet, he's like,
I'll just wear my ninja clothes.
oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
that's cool,
You know
though.
what? Like, I don't know, man. But if this is appropriate or not,
Oh,
it
gosh.
is
Oh, gosh.
So,
Lauren.
yeah, Lauren, stop us. When I was growing up, the thing that I loved was
scared.
the scary mask.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
the scarier, the better.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
But I didn't go around like terrorizing little kids. I just liked
Just terrorizing
to wear
myself.
scary. The hard thing, though, I mean, I think we could all agree on this, except you're from Jersey, so you did all your trick or treating in cooler weather.
We did. It was nice.
True.
It was
Which
nice
you
out.
did too.
Yep.
From Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Florida, I mean, it's hot.
Oh, yeah.
You're in those costumes and sweating.
That sounds
It's a lot of
terrible,
work for the
Sean.
candy.
Yeah, we had fall.
We had snow one year.
Oh, we did.
That was that, yeah, that cold.
A lot of just fall. It was nice. It was nice
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna turn a corner,
Okay.
but before we do, why don't we lose these outfits?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right. All right. So we're back. Look at us.
Back.
You look beautiful.
Thanks. You do too?
Thank you. Not you, Sean.
Well, it's weird at first, so I was like, do you?
No, Sean's always beautiful too.
Thanks. You don't mean it.
So we're talking about Halloween, and this is also like everything that we talk about. We're always talking about like uniting. We're talking about the division, things like that. And I'm just wondering, like, your thoughts on, is Halloween in and of itself in America a uniter or a divider, or is there something in between? Black and white TV.
For me, what do I think?
Yeah.
I think Halloween's a uniter, honestly. I like that people get out, the neighborhood, the community, kids are getting candy. I find it festive and fun, so I tend to be in the uniter category in this.
I do too. I mean, I love, even on Halloween Day, as it gets later in the day and maybe like when people are starting to get home, you just see like the energy. People are moving around, they're like setting stuff up. You always, like in our neighborhood, there's always a guy that sets up like a scary, like little maze that it's
That traumatizes children.
Like
So great, so fun. Oh my gosh! Do you want to try the? Do you want to try the voice?
I can't do it. The kids all like they go to this far over like across the street to go around. It's awesome. But I agree, it's just fun.
Oh wait! Before we go further into that, are you guys horror movie fans? Are you guys watching that during Halloween? Are you those
I'm not watching it
people?
ever.
No, I do not like horror movies,
You
and I
want-
can't stand clowns.
Oh, James, I feel like you my brother for real.
Oh, absolutely.
I loathe clowns.
I hate clowns.
They're so scary to me.
I know.
The
Well-
movie It.
Oh, yeah, I know.
There's also different like types of clowns that are scary.
Oh, yeah.
Like clowns are scary. European clowns are the scariest.
Oh, yeah.
They are for
That's
sure.
discriminatory.
Uh,
Why you say that?
Well, what I think it is, because in Brazil, like different parts of the world, clowns dress differently, use different
yeah.
makeup,
Different
they
color
have different
theme, right?
colors, different hair, and so for them it's probably not scary at all. For them, probably American clowns. So I think it is. I think it's the color and the type of makeup and the hair. It's
So
different.
funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so we're gonna go back to, is it a uniter or divider? I think it can be both. I think definitely the uniter part of it is that people aren't going to people's doors and being like, wait, who did your parents vote for before I give you candy, right? Like we don't, it's
Right.
just you go to whoever's door and you receive from whomever, right? And it's like it feels safe. Like, I mean, depending on where you are, right? It feels safe to like you're going to strangers' homes. Sometimes they're strangers, right? Depending on your neighborhood. But like, and you're just getting candy, like free candy. No one's like, you have to perform an act, right? You don't have to do the treat or the trick. You don't have to do a trick. Here's a treat, right? That's the thing, right? Trick or treat, whatever. So, so that's I think more like the uniter part of it. The divider part of it is that of like there are people who deeply are against Halloween, right? Like that's a whole people group in and of themselves, and I think that's just something to be mindful of, and not to just impose or expect, right? Because there is an expectation of like, oh, this is what we do, but it's like not all the we's, right? There's different religious beliefs and things like that.
Sure.
People who are just like, absolutely not, and not just no, but like that there's darkness, right, in this holiday. So.
Yeah, I think that's good, Jay. And I think maybe even going into this year, Halloween, maybe we need a uniter event more than ever right now. Just a couple months ago, everywhere I turned around the 20th anniversary of 9/11, people kept saying, like in different times, different days, different people, they would say, if they remembered, if they were old enough, they would say 9/11 was such, like, America was so unified after 9/11. Like, people said that so many times, unfortunately out of a tragedy, and then they fast forward to today and they're like, but now we seem to be the most divided that they can remember, at least in their history. And so it seems like we need some things going into this holiday season that gives us a little bit of a boost, gives us a sense of a reminder of who we are, that our identity doesn't have to be wrapped in a position politically, or we can be united. James, let's go back to your story of growing up. I know from having traveled with you together and spending time, you had a rough incident as a child.
Sure.
You know, do you feel okay sharing about that and sort of how
Yeah.
that exposed you to some of the darker side, as Jay was even using those words, of some of the things that have created division in our country?
Sure. Well, my family's originally from Hong Kong, China, and so I'm first generation, or some people would refer to that as second generation of the United States, born here. You know, growing up, I was very fortunate. I was very blessed to have a educated, wealthy family, but there were still differences of just, I was Chinese, living in a highly European, in particular Norwegian culture. In this area that I was from, in the Midwest, I witnessed my father beaten up by a police officer in the late 1970s. And just a note as I talk about this, I have great respect actually for people who serve in law enforcement that keep our community safe. So this is not me bashing on it, but I had an instance with one officer that was bad, and he referred to my father like, "We don't do that here." And I was like, what do you mean by here? Like, we're U.S. citizens. I was born here. And so there's clearly a dissection of, like, I'm not white in this case. I saw my father getting beaten up, and my father taken away. Fast forwarding, when I witnessed this event, I fell to the ground and I started to cry, and I was obviously very confused. I was only in like 4th grade, I think it was. And I didn't know what to do. And suddenly I kind of sat up straight and I spit out like that. And I just said, that will never happen again. Not to me, my family, or anything I'm a part of. And that was a very critical intersection in my martial arts and my athletic career.
Wow. Sorry.
That's okay.
Well, I think we all have moments like that. That
Sure.
are turning points in our story that, you know, even for some of us who have lived through 2020, we've talked about the pandemics. I'm hoping that even 2020 is one of these moments where a lot of us watched something, witnessed something in a racial pandemic, a political pandemic, a social pandemic, and determines, okay, I'm not going to be a part of that any longer. I'm not going to allow or stand by or watch that. I'm going to do all that I can with the resources that I have, the voice that I have, to do something different, to make a difference. So it's pretty awesome.
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that, and I do think that's super powerful because I have a lot of curiosities about you because I know you, but just what has been going on. Like there's a lot behind what's been happening surrounding Asian community, but also prior to that, there's a lot of so it's interesting. So I'm like, so one, I'm thinking about sometimes Asian community can be more white passing, right? They're it's something about kind of like the good minority or something like that. I don't remember. There's a term, and then but then there's also Asian communities who also will identify more with the Black community, right? They're great with hip hop, the dancing, the singing, they got it. Okay. I do listen to Korean R&B, okay? K-R&B, same thing. And it's beautiful. And so I just wonder, where did you fit into that? And where are you even today?
Well, I think in both of those descriptions you shared, a little bit of both, actually. I think a lot of times, and you see it even referenced in the Marvel Shang-Chi movie a little bit, there's different Asians in the film. Even though many of them are even Chinese, there's, if you will, different Chinese of different parts of the Western society, Canada, West Coast, and other parts of the U.S. So I think a little bit of both. I think I tend to lean a little bit more towards the Black community in general, partly because I'm an entertainer and an artist, and sports, so I have had to kind of lean that way. But I do also, with the descriptions that you've shared, as kind of under the radar, sort of the good minority. Hey, you get good grades. We're about money, especially in Asian community. So a little bit in that description on the other side too.
And so with regards all this the Asian hate / being mindful of that has been a thing, but it was kind of again, this under the radar thing. What were your thoughts and feelings around that time? I'm trying not to bring it. I want you to just say it, but like you were sharing that you had anger around that time, but you also had like a separation around that time too, because you were like, well, I can defend myself, right? But then there was
Sure.
also still like the anger there. So
Yeah, I think where I grew up, if you were good at sports, that became the identity. And so what I naturally did in my case was I'll just be good at sports. So I'll be identifying myself as a sports athlete, not as Chinese or Chinese American or certain politics. Or I was just like, I will be good at sports. And because that's where my school and the area that I grew up, that was good to go. But what happened though is when that season was done, then it was very clear, especially when the environment changed, well, that's not who you are. You are Chinese and you're not one of us, if you will. And so I would, if you will, in my case, I would maneuver, if you will, into these different environments, whether to be more advantageous, martial arts or an entertainment, that I would be properly framed, if you will. And so I think that's where some of the Asian community, at least in my case, it's like, where do we fit? And where, if you will, in my case, a third culture kid. So
yeah.
That's really good. James, what about then, so fast forward from 4th grade to 2020, what was that year like for you? When I think back to even some of the conversations, USA Unites, we just had a little pilot group at the time. We were meeting every week, having discussions. That was even pre-pandemic. And then we go into 2020, and all of a sudden, I felt like there was a resurgence of this animosity towards Asians. There were things said in the news that even added some fuel to a fire that many of us wish would go away, has not gone away.
Sure.
You've lived through. What was 2020 like, kind of walking through COVID-19 and sort of what we were hearing in the news often?
I mean, obviously being in entertainment, I have a lot of friends, especially on the West Coast. And so there were a lot of my friends that shared there was physical attacks towards Asians and particularly in the Chinese community, but in Asians in general, like, you brought this virus here. And here's people that were born and raised in this country, like, they had nothing to do with this. My sister's lived 3 miles from where George Floyd was killed. And so in her community there, it was very violent, very dangerous. And we had a general sense of fear, just it kind of brought up those feelings again, like, we are different and we stand out as different physically. We'll need to watch out for each other. So it kind of became a little more close knit of like, we will just have to watch out for each other.
That's good. Well, as we sort of turn the corner to wrapping up a little bit, for those of you that are new, or maybe you've listened before, the 3 big themes for us is centered around how do we relearn or learn sometimes for us for the first time. What does it look like for us to listen, to learn, to lean into the people around us who think different, vote different, believe religiously different, look different, come from a bit different ethnicity, was born in a different country. I mean, the list goes on and on. And so much of what we are promoting and advocating is we've got to get back to humanizing each other, dignifying and respecting and seeing beauty in the diversity that we have in the culture around us. As we go into this holiday season and we look at Halloween and we think about the worst candy, the best outfits that are appropriate, maybe not so.
And we just want to, if you do love candy corn, we love you. Okay,
keep it to yourself. But as we go into this, Jay, you and I were talking yesterday about how, some of us are still dealing with some of the ripple effect of 2020, whatever pandemic or all the pandemics that any one of us have gone through. And yet we also we're looking for a way to, as uniters, find a way to take a first step to moving towards unity, a first step towards getting out of whatever hole or slump that we find ourselves in. What would you recommend going into October 31? What might we do as a community to think differently about this Halloween season?
I don't know. I think it's always just like you check yourself first, right? Like, do I have any biases that I was even unaware of? Like, did anything, even in this episode, like trigger? Are you like, man, I wish they would have talked about this? Because if you have any of those, man, I wish they would have talked about this, that's an opportunity for you to talk about this. Whatever the this is, right? You don't have to wait for someone to approach you about a conversation, about things that are hard to talk about. You can initiate conversations that can be uncomfortable to talk about, or just like ask other people like, hey, what do you think about this, or whatever the case is. And I'm always like, do your research, right? Like research meaning not just looking at one side of a topic, but seeing if there are multiple sides to a topic. We tend to look at, is it this or is it this, and which one's right? And it might not be something that's right, it just might be this is what it is. I can't help the fact that candy corn was rated the worst. I didn't rate it. They didn't ask me, okay? But some people rated it, okay? But just like do your own research is what I would say. Research within self, out there, and with your own community, and have conversations.
That's awesome. That's really good. So, James, when can we expect the plane to come out?
I anticipate that it'll be Christmas of 2022.
Got a little ways to go still.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ask
so
that again. You just did that.
counting down
Also,
the
we would
days.
also like to recommend to people, like, please give out good candy.
Give out the candy.
Give out good candy.
There's a good
Full-size candy bars.
Do your research. There's good candy lists.
Absolutely. Well, and even I was just thinking as we were going to record this episode, if you have a tradition like pumpkin carving, or not that it gets cooler in Florida, but for those of us who go out and do something like
Fall festival.
You know what? Use this Halloween, this particular holiday. Invite some people into your mix that aren't normally in your mix. Build some new relationships, hear some new stories, and find ways that we can reflect what it means to be a unifier, because we need it now more than ever.
Yeah. Also, we have multiple social media thingies now, right? So we have a website, usaunites.org. We have Instagram, USA Unites National. Woohoo! We also have the Facebook. We have the Twitter, and maybe one day we'll have the TikTok.
Maybe.
Sean's gonna do a dance.
So please follow, share, subscribe, pass that along. We're just a little movement growing, and we need you. So jump in where you can, and mostly go out and live as a uniter 24/7. Find a way this week to listen, to learn, to lean in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.